Hi, Internet Amigos. It's the 11th of May, Sunday. 11th of May, I think. Yeah, Sunday, the 11th of May, 2025. I have to do some videos. I've been very stressed out. Let's talk about Iran very briefly before I do a proper video taking in everything that's happened. Pakistan, I've told you and told you and told you. I just want to remind you, it's all theater. It's all horseshit. Doesn't mean something bad couldn't happen. It just means that there's going to be 10 years of this. This is just the beginning as the total reordering of the world. A new world order of Pax Americana is being set up for the first time post-World War II. They were never allowed to win post-World War II. Eisenhower, I'm very dubious about. I believe MacArthur was right. There was something wrong with Eisenhower. They had something on him. He wasn't all bad. He was not all bad. But he waited until he did the military-industrial speech before he kind of let loose. But there were problems with Eisenhower, 100%. McCarthy was right. They had infiltrated everywhere. Reds were under the bed. They were in the halls of power. The Venona decrypts have completely vindicated Senator Joseph McCarthy, completely vindicated him. He is a hero. He should have statues built to him. It's all in the open now, but there'll never be a Hollywood movie. Not yet anyway, but we'll see. Wait, I can't wait for the restoration of Senator Joseph McCarthy and his memory. Obviously an imperfect man, obviously. But man, was he right. And if you want to read more on that, read Diane West, Red Thread, and many other books. If you can put up with her anti-Islam, which, to be honest, is just ridiculous, Diane. I notice she's mellowed a little bit in her old age. Mary goes on there and tries to talk to her. Let's see what happens with Diane West. I still hold out some hope Diane West will come good. Let's just quickly listen. As you know, they want to call the Persian Gulf the Gulf of Arabia, the Arabian Gulf. Now, this is not new. I'd let you know that the BBC has been trying to call it the Gulf of Arabia for the last 30 years. In fact, when I got there, it was the first thing they brought up, the Persian Gulf Study Centre. Oh, they're trying to call the BBC, and they were showing me, look, the BBC is trying to call the Persian Gulf the Gulf of Arabia. Oh, and they were wailing. We're in this nice restaurant, and I was thinking, are we going to talk about Israel anytime soon? For 3 hours, Israel was not mentioned for 3 hours at that dinner table. There were representatives from Press TV, there were Persian Gulf Studies, there were government analysts, and there's the lawyer doing all the talking, and the word Israel didn't come up till right to the end. And they said, oh, I heard you took on Israel and you're still alive. And they slapped me on the back and laughed, and that was it. All they did was they bitched about Saudi Arabia for 3 solid hours. And it was then, as Louis had tried to explain to me, Persians hate Arabs more than they hate Jews. In fact, I put to you, they don't even hate Jews. I put to you, they want to go back to the Shah and trade and, be normal. And I saw a lot of things in 3 months. Remember, they were going to give me my own travel show on Around Press TV. That was the plan. But clearly I was letting it be known openly and vocally that I was not pissed off. I was not there for a travel show. I was there to talk business. We were going to take on Israel and its domination of the US via national security interest issues. They weren't interested. I had to threaten them. I literally threatened them. I'll expose you. I'll go back. If you're not going to do it, give me $5,000 and I'll just say things didn't work out. I've got other things to do. I'm not wasting my time here. That's literally how I spoke to them. Literally. Because I was being handled by the Zarif Rouhani City of London crew. That's why. That's why. And they were getting promised all sorts of things. Now let's quickly watch this.
I think this administration and many other governments should look beyond the regime itself and look at what's on the streets of Iran. What's the demand of the people? The people who chant, they lie to us, they say America is the enemy. Our enemy is right here in Iran. That's what the people are saying.
That's true. 100%
so that's
true.
the big distinction that needs to be understood at every...
I'm telling you now, 70% of the population love the Shah. They want the Shah back. That's all they ever told me. I never met anyone who said, well, I love the revolution. They all said, we want the Shah back. And they didn't hold back. They just blurted it out. Didn't matter where we were. The only people that never brought it up was the lawyer and the Persian Gulf Study Center. They never talked that. And I really liked those guys. They were good people. Most of the people I met were very nice. But I would meet Iranians all the time, and they really tried to keep me away because they knew that I would see that the average Iranian hates the fucking Ayatollah. They hate the mullahs. They hate them. Right? They consider Islam an abomination. At Christmas time, they do the Zoroastrian where they leap over the fire. Right? For festivals, it's all allowed. It's bullshit. Oh, it's this totalitarian regime. Bullshit. As long as you're not spying for an outside source, you're not raping and killing, they are very fair. very just. But if you are considered an enemy of the state, they will come and get you and you might hang. I'm not going to tell you it's a birthday party for children there. But I'm telling you, I'd rather be in the Tehran prison, the main prison in Tehran, than Rikers Island or any prison in the United States. Thanks. And you know what they call the main prison in Iran? In Tehran? You know what they call the main prison? Tehran University. You know why? Because there's hundreds of dissidents locked up in there. Trust me, I would have had a ball in there because I was thinking of throwing the lawyer out the window. Like literally. I thought, what a great bit of publicity. I was literally planning to do that with that fucking lawyer Lashkari. I'm not fucking joking. I had every right to think that way. I thought they've made me broke. I have no fucking money. I'm going to fucking kill this fucker. I'm literally going to throw him out of window. I was planning his murder, literally. And I was going to go through the trial and I was going to create a shitstorm. And I promise you, I would have been treated fairly. I would have explained why. I thought Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, I thought that was Iranian politics and the enemy was Zionism, but clearly not. And I guarantee you, I would have had so many supporters. I could tell by Conor Hosseini at Passport Border Control. They really liked me. And they let me off the hook. They just let me leave with a $50 fine. I could almost see him clapping. I said, you contact Colonel Hosseini. He knows who I am. Passport Border Control. And an hour later, it was a $50 fine. And they shook my hand vigorously like, good luck. That's what they said to me at the airport. So don't ever look. The Iranian people, the Arab people, the people are good people. It's like people all over the damn world, like ordinary Mexicans I meet who are good people. Ordinary people just want to get along and trade and have some tourists and meet some foreigners and raise their children. That's all we want. We don't start the fucking wars. They manipulate us into war. They lie to us about the damn wars. So this simple fact of talking about the Gulf of Arabia, keep listening.
Phase of any discussions going on.
It's a very important point, and that is why the people of Iran keep chanting for you to return. I mean, I want to get your take on regional partner.
They want the Shah back. They said continuously the Shah was great, but what did the Shah do? All right, his crimes and trading with Israel and his secret police, he actually apologized, said, look, I didn't know that was going on. He didn't try to hide it. He just said, I didn't know. There were some bad things happening. There was torture. There was horrible things happening. And he actually apologized. The problem was in 75, the same year they killed Faisal, I do believe it was 1975. So you have a good, honest, whatever you think of kingdoms and theocracies. Faisal was a man of the people. He slept on the floor. He rode his camel. He'd been brought up poor. He'd been brought up in a hard life, and he hated as the money was flowing in. He could see the degeneration of the youth. And he was a good and just and decent king. He demanded justice. He spoke the truth about Israel, and he said they're all godless Russian Jews. Most of them aren't even Jews. I mean, he said that way back in the 70s to Nelson Rockefeller, and he was dead within a year. His nephew, who'd been trained up and coked up and probably been homosexually compromised in the US, was sent in to kill him. And you get what you get today, and you get the same happen with this hardcore Wahhabist horseshit. No Saudi wants this crap. Saudis want to be normal, like everyone else. And then, of course, you had the Theocracy 79, because the Shah went on Mike Wallace and spoke about Jewish power and said, they're too powerful, they control America. And you just think, that's the end of the Shah. That's the end of him. So, with these things in mind, I promise you, 70% conservatively of the Iranian population will trade with Israel, hate Arabs, and just want to be normal. And they're very close to Germany and France. And we know why.
And potential help from the region. President Trump is set to visit the Middle East next week. He told reporters yesterday he's yet to make a decision about potentially renaming the Persian Gulf. Watch this.
Referring to the Persian Gulf as the Arabian Gulf, are you going to make that announcement on your
They're going to ask me about that when I get there, and I'll have to make a decision.
So you haven't made a decision yet?
I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I don't know if feelings are going to be hurt. Why have a case right over here? It's called Gulf of America. And I guess a lot of people get ideas from us. But the Gulf of America was something I thought should have been named a long time ago.
No. That's been around forever. That was the first thing I found out when I went to that dinner after the second, third day when I got back. Anyway, forget, I can't remember days and times now. It's a distant memory. But that's a well-known thing they hate Saudis. They hate Arabs, but they hate Saudis, especially. Hate Saudis.
I'm going to be given a briefing on that. It was just done. And I'll make a decision.
All right, all that's linked with like the Gulf of America. Mexico has got to work out, and that's why I need to leave. That's why you probably need to leave, and it breaks my heart. I wanted a life here. I had a girlfriend here. I'd spent 20 to 30,000 US dollars over 2 years settling in here, and I've just had to walk and leave it all behind, all of it. But it's not going to be safe for foreigners in this country. They're going to be trading the Gulf of America. They're going to be going backwards and forwards to Venezuela and Colombia. Colombia's going to boom. If you want to invest, probably head to Colombia, get in early. And you're going to see massive changes there. And, sorry. You're going to see massive changes there. And I've tried to warn Mexicans, you need to stop this anti-American rhetoric. You need to stop laughing about the 100,000 dead Americans every year with fentanyl and think, oh, good, we're getting the gringo back. They kill us. They send the guns down. You see how you get people fighting? That was Kissinger and Associates. That was the Council on Foreign Relations. That was the Trilateral Commission. And then the Mexicans have a love affair with Europe like the Iranians do when it's the fucking Europeans who are fucking you via America. That is being ended. Mexico, your destiny lies with the United States. And everyone better learn to get along, or there will be no Mexico. Don't shoot the messenger. I've tried to tell your well-off people here, and they seem to hate America the most. And it's like, oh, okay, that's your business. I'm getting the fuck out of here. You know, Claudia Sheinbaum needs to do some sort of reconciliation process and bring the name up of Kissinger and say America has been the victim as well. If you free America, you will free Mexico, and you will free the world. If you continue your anti-American hatred, which is deep and visceral, and think that the French are your friend, I'm sure the French people are, but the French and the Germans have been the ones effing you via their power and domination over the House of Rothschild and Evelyn de Rothschild and Bonn, Germany, Frankfurt, Germany, Bern, Switzerland, Paris, France. They're the ones fucking you. You have a love affair with France, apparently. They're the ones fucking you via America. That's now over. That's why they've got to keep pushing the anti-American rhetoric with the Soros Foundation and the Clinton Foundation. Who's in with the Soros and Clinton Foundation, I wonder? And you got to keep pushing the anti-American stuff. They are the ones effing you. They effed America. Now they're getting cleaned up. Is it going to be better? It will definitely be better. And you will at least have an opportunity to create something positive for the next 30, 40, 50 years. If you keep the anti-American invective, God help you. That's why I'm getting the fuck out as fast as possible. Claudia Sheinbaum needs to immediately organise some form of reconciliation program where you talk about the past, the kill squads, the gangs, the drugs, who organises it, who's funding it. Well, she can't, can she? And so the end is inevitable. Hence why I'm getting the fuck out. And we have the same with Iran. Who's Iran in love with? France and Germany. When you go there, they literally worship. I'm not joking. They would have icons of Angela Merkel, the former chancellor, the East German communist physicist who attains to the position of Chancellor of Germany, unified Germany, and is literally beloved as the patron saint. She is adored. The love for Germany and Switzerland was, I knew nothing about it. I said to a friend who lived in Iran for 6 months, you remember Kiran, the Afghani lady, Pakistani lady. She laughed and she said, oh, Brendon, you've worked it out. They worship Adolf Hitler. Iranians worship Adolf Hitler as a god, not because they don't believe anything about him murdering millions of Jews. They don't believe that, right? They believe because Hitler was into what? The Aryans. What's the home of the Aryans in the Indo-European language? Persia. So they love it. Until you understand that, until you understand the Ayatollah came out of a Paris commune with a German intelligence film crew, you will understand that it has been the House of Rothschild who created the Wahhabists and the House of Rothschild who created the theocracy and the mullahs and the Ayatollahs in Iran and gave them power as a control mechanism to make sure no one would come together. Now the Americans are going to call it the Gulf of Arabia, and they are going to do their new Belt and Road Mark II, and they're going to run stuff probably through India, pipelines across Saudi Arabia up into Haifa port. So that program is going through. It's a bit silly, but that's all they've got. And that will then head up into Europe, and guess who will control all that? The United States. That's the plan. See, why Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, the supposed hardliner, was genius? Because he had common sense. He's a real Scorpio. He knew. He said to the people in the parliament and General Soleimani, if we do not get out of people's bedrooms, we've got to get out of their bedrooms. And he demanded a backing off. We've got to get with it. We have a demographic of youth of 16 to 35 that is the highest in the world. They fucking hate us, obviously. And they are going to go off if they don't have jobs. And what they were waiting for, of course, was the new multipolar world order where they would team up with Germany, France, Russia, and China, and they would be involved in that big time. And that's what they were waiting for. Then you would see a modernization program, and the average Iranian would have a job, and they would have some hope, and they would have some more travel. And it's the job now of US elites, if they don't F it up because they're run by the wrong kind of people still, is to make Iran a friend of the United States. And I presume that's what's going to happen sometime in the future. And I beg Mexico, you've got to do something radical and quick. It's going to make 1992 look like a picnic. A picnic. You're going to go up against the US military is going to invade. Literally. Anyway, that is what is going on. Iran must come under the sphere of influence of the United States. We're seeing the new Belt and Road Mark II, which will be completely controlled by the United States. India's heavy involvement. Malaysia's heavily involved. Malaysia's crown corporate. Malaysia is literally run by the British MI6 completely. And the Malays don't mind. So we like it. And particularly the ethnic Indians and the ethnic Chinese don't mind it either, because the ethnic Indians come from their shitty Brahmin caste system, which they hate. And the Chinese are happy because they just want to be normal. And you can tell completely the difference between mainlander Chinese and Malay Chinese, third and fourth generation. They're completely different people, completely different. The CCP Chinese are just like, they walk around in a daze, they just get in everyone's way, annoy everyone, and just because they're just used to being in a crowd. And I said to a friend who was Chinese Malay, I said, they just stand in front of you and block whole hallways. And she says, Brendon, it's China, dude. It's different. It's dog eat dog. You just push your way through them. That's how it works in China. So I started doing it like this bunch of women, which would have got me fucking arrested in Australia. And they just stood there. It was like it was nothing. I thought, my God, they're like robots. And this is where little old Brendon from Australia, spoilt little brat from Australia, socialist Australia with beautiful beaches, is learning that the world is a very different and often dangerous place. Not like running a YouTube channel, and how different people are and how easily it is to set fire to whole peoples and whole countries. Anyway, I'll do some more videos, and again, I've got to get ready, and I've got to get ready to leave. Thank you very much to the people who lent me. This is not a donation, it's a lend. I can pay you back easily. I thought having a Mexican account would make things easier, and the Mexican account is not making things easier. So, okay, I'll make sure to keep my money out of my Mexican account. Okay, I've got a lot to say, and I'll tell you more when I get out of this country eventually. Talk soon, very soon.